Darren, you said you're looking for players who fit our team and our culture. What does that mean? Who are those type of players?
Yeah, I mentioned it briefly in there. Makeup is very important, how these players are wired. But we're still having those discussions and going through that process about how we want to build this team and the specifics of each, player position and those makeup.
Yeah, when you look, obviously a lot of these GM jobs open because the teams weren't very good. When you look at this roster, do you see kind of an exception to that when you have as many young foundational pieces on both lines and playmakers as you have?
I do. I felt that very much so. It's a talented roster here, and we're going to continue to add to it.
How much did you look into the roster and look into the foundational talent before even taking this interview?
A lot. That was a big part of it. That's part of the process, knowing the roster and the players and the current makeup that you have. And we're still going through that process, too. I'm still learning. I'm going to get with the scouts here tonight. We're going to dive into it and I want to hear from them because they know this roster better than I do right now.
Darren, can this team win now?
I believe so. When
you say now, what level do you think you can win at?
We're going to win games. I think you felt that from AG, the talented players. We're going to win games here.
What will be the plan with Aaron Rodgers? Will you guys go talk to him?
Yeah, AG mentioned that. I'll say this about Aaron. First and foremost, I got the most respect for Aaron Rodgers and what he's done in this league as a player. One of the greatest of all times to play the position, one of the greatest players of all time. So I know Aaron has his process in the offseason that he goes through. We have ours, but yeah, that day's going to come. I don't have a timeline on it, but I look forward to it.
Specifically, though, with Aaron, from the film you've seen, if you watch anything on him, I mean, what is your impression of him at the moment as a quarterback?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on those things. We're still going through the process, and he's going to go through his, but we'll get there.
What would your message be to Jets fans?
That get excited, strap it up like AG said to the players too. It's going to be fun.
Going back to that interview with AG, where if you had the last word, would you have hired him right there?
Yeah, it's funny. You felt the energy, right, guys? I mean, he gets up there. It's natural. It's easy for him. And at that time when we interviewed him, it was his first year as a coordinator, and the Lions had just won 3 games. And he wasn't quite ready maybe at that time, but we all knew he was going to be a head coach. I think you guys see that.
How important were those conversations you guys had when you were here for your second interview? Like, just seeing if you guys would be a fit just from both ends.
Very important. Yeah. Very important. You just talk philosophy, you talk the roster, you talk your vision for the team, how you want to build it, and amongst a lot of other things. But it's important.
Darren, it's a little of a non-traditional setup that they had where usually the GM gets hired and then the GM hires the coach. The coach was hired here before the GM. How does that work? Because people would call that an arranged marriage, and those don't always work out in the NFL.
No, I think you've actually seen it, happening more and more. And I don't consider it like that. I think they both had their processes. There was a lot of dialogue throughout the process on both parties too. So I don't necessarily feel it like that.
Do you have the final say on the roster and personnel decisions?
Yeah, I'll say this about any player acquisition, whether we're adding or subtracting, that is going to be a decision with Aaron and I both. It's a we. If a player we add, it's our decision.
Darren, this team hasn't made the playoffs in 14 years, the longest in professional sports. How much do you embrace that challenge of turning it around?
I think it's a great opportunity. I don't see it as a challenge. I think it's a great opportunity because of the foundational pieces that are here and the coaches we're going to get, and we're going to give these guys everything they need.
Darren, the benefit of getting this job is you've got some pretty damn good players on the roster. A couple of those players that were also due for potentially new contracts. Do you have a belief system you go into when it's time to start paying players, where get it done earlier, get it done later?
I mean, it changes. It depends on where you're at. Every player is different, but we'll have all of those conversations, and when you have thorough process, that they take care of themselves. But you don't have a necessarily hard philosophy. It's somewhat fluid, case by case.
When you said earlier, keep your own, does that mean your guys that you're going to bring in here, or does that include the guys that you inherit?
Jets players, it's just when you know what you got in the building and it's good, you want to keep it together.
Obviously, Aaron's a short term because he's going to be 42. What is your long term? How important is it to establish a long term quarterback plan?
I mean, obviously it's important, but we're going to have a lot of dialogue and conversation about the quarterback position, and we'll explore and exhaust every option.
In Denver, when you were in Denver, there were several different avenues you guys went to find a quarterback before you got to Bo. You went the free agent route, the trade route, and then eventually drafted somebody.
Yeah.
How much did you learn throughout that process about evaluating quarterbacks?
I learned a lot. You know, you said it. We've kind of done it every way: trade for a guy, draft another guy, and I learned a lot that I'm going to take with me to this situation here.
You talk about assessing the whole roster. How can you do that without clarity on your quarterback?
Oh, we're going to evaluate the whole roster always. Like I said earlier, we're going to meet tonight with the scouts, the pro scouts here, and they're going to talk us through it. We're going to go through every guy, not just the quarterback, because every position matters and is important.
Darren, how are you handling your staff? Have you made any hires?
No, I haven't. Guys, I just got here less than 24 hours ago, to be honest. I haven't found my office this morning for the first time, but I'm looking forward to listening a lot. There's a lot of people here. I got a lot of questions, and we're going to talk, and I'm going to listen.
Do you plan on having some people in place here, like before the combine?
I have not made any of those plans other than get with AG and help him get this coaching staff in place first.
Aaron,
How much does being a former Jet drive you to succeed?
Listen, one of the reasons why I want this job, and again, you can't write a better story than my life right now, in the position I am right now. In '94, obviously being drafted here with the 12th pick, coming back, I think it's 2012, to be a scout, to be an in-house scout, and then actually spending 2 years being a college scout, and then coming back as the head coach. Listen, it's a whirlwind right now. I will say that. But I'm so looking forward to this. I'm so looking forward to getting the staff. I'm so looking forward to getting with the players. And it's going to be a good ride. It's going to be a good ride.
Aaron, I'm sorry. Hey, congrats.
Thank you.
Where are you with staffing, and do you intend on calling the defense?
Listen, I won't call the defense. I want to be the best head coach, the best head coach you can find. In order for me to do that, I think I need to manage the game. All right, so I'll have my OC and my DC. Those guys will be calling the plays. When it comes to staffing, that's a work in progress. You know, my deal is I'm looking for the best coaches that can help us succeed. And I do believe coaches are the start of your culture. So every coach will be looked at to make sure they can bring that. So I've always taught that it's not coachability, it's compatibility. And I want to make sure the coaches we bring are compatible.
Aaron, you were part of the turnaround in Detroit, turning a perennial loser into one of the best teams in the league. How do you do that here in New York?
Get the right people in the building. I mean, I saw that with Bill Parcells when he got here, so I know it's not a fluke. We did the same thing in Detroit, so we expect to do that as soon as we can.
Aaron, in talking to current Jets players, they said that this team needs a coach that brings discipline, that is a leader of men, and can change the culture from the top down. What do you bring to the table to do that for these players?
Well, listen, I'm authentic, and I'm going to be me. And whatever that may be, it is what it is. To me, leadership, when you look at the definition of leadership, I break down to one word, and that's influence. And it all starts with my character. And after that, my work ethic. So I plan to bring that to them. And listen, I love this position that I'm in. I like the fact I can stand up in front of a group of men and give direction. I like the fact I can stand up in front of a group of men and give structure. And I said this before because players want that, and they want to follow that. And when it comes to the accountability part, and I said this before, they have to understand what they're responsible for first before you can hold them accountable for something. And that's my plan to do that. And that comes with structure and leadership in myself.
Will Aaron Rodgers be your quarterback?
You're going to continue to ask me the same question and get the same answer. We're still in evaluation mode. So for anybody else going to ask that, I'm going to give you the same answer. So don't waste your time. We're clear.
Well, let's answer what do you look for in a quarterback? Like, what's an Aaron Glenn quarterback?
A winner. A winner. Mental and physical toughness.
When you talk about that process,
you're not going to get me.
Well, let me ask you this. You know, Parcells, I know you guys are close. He always said...
That's Parcells.
Okay.
I'm Aaron Glenn.
Okay, so you don't...
That's Parcells. I'm Aaron Glenn.
Okay.
Aaron, what will your process be like? Will you go meet with Aaron? I know you guys.
Listen, we've already texted Aaron, and me and Mougey are going to sit there and we're going to watch every game tape there is, and then we're going to look at the whole roster. This thing is not about Aaron Rodgers, folks. This is about the roster, and we plan on building the best roster that we can. So whatever that may be, guard, tackle, defensive tackle, that's what we're evaluating. And listen, everybody's under the microscope. That's just what it is. So we're going to do the best we can to make sure we build the best roster.
With the quarterback, Aaron, is it strictly a football decision? So when you decide what you want to do at quarterback, are you just
When it comes to the
football?
team, it's always a football decision. There's no other decision to be made about that.
Aaron, can I ask you about another player? I know you haven't had time to study the roster, but Sauce Gardner, his position, as you know well, from afar, watching him, what have you thought of Sauce Gardner's first 3 years?
Well, watching them win. We're just on to watch them. So we understand. We'll get that once we watch them. Right. Every player is being evaluated.
Did you study
both
him?
Just got here.
Did you study him coming out of college or anything?
And he was a damn good player.
Right.
Absolutely. That's why he's making Pro Bowl on the business. So what he did last year, we're in the process of looking at that. If there's issues, we'll fix that. But the thing is, he came here as a Pro Bowler. We expect him to leave as a Pro Bowler.
Aaron, Glenn, what's your message to Jets fans?
I said it before, put your seatbelts on because it's going to be a fun ride. And we're looking forward to it.
When will that ride start?
Started right now. Aren't you having fun?
Huh? Yeah.
Well, there you go. You're on this
season?
ride. You're on this ride with us. So that's when it starts.
Aaron, when you're looking at defensively, like you said, you want to bring in your defense coordinator, he's going to run your defense.
Yep.
Ideally, is it someone that's from your background or runs a similar scheme as you, or can it be something completely and totally different?
I'm looking for the best coach.
Okay.
That's all I'm looking for. A guy that's going to be compatible. And that doesn't have to be from somebody that I had. That can be across the league. Listen, when I go through the interview process, everything is on the table. And the best coaches will be here.
Aaron, there was a lot of stuff that came out this year. You probably saw it in your research on the Johnson family involvement and stuff in football decisions.
Yeah.
Did that give you any pause? And in the job, did you have a lot of questions for them during the interview process about how things would be set up?
Well, we had questions for each other. And listen, I was here when Woody, when he bought the team. And my conversations with him back then were really, really positive. Coming back here on my second interview and sitting and talking with them, listen, there's no better person to work for when they sit there and tell you and you talk about, you strategize about having a winning commitment. And he has that. And that's all I need to know. And we're going to continue to have conversations to make sure we continue to look at that. So I look forward to it. I trust him with everything I have. And I look forward to working with him.
When you were, I can't remember back this far, but when you were scouting for the Jets, were you scouting from here or were you out on the road?
Well, I actually did both. I did 2 years in-house, which I had a chance to learn salary cap, how to evaluate players that's already in the building. And then I do 2 years on the road when I had my Honda Accord and I was driving from Texas all the way up to North Dakota, and going through that. And I'll tell you, that was a really, really good experience for me. And I met some of my closest friends on that road. So, but the main thing is I had a chance to evaluate every position on that field. And that's been critical for my development. And Bill Parcells was right because it has made me a better coach. And it's going to make me a better head coach. Because when we're looking at players, listen, I know exactly what I'm looking at when it comes to the evaluation process.
Okay, a couple more. Aaron, 9 straight losing seasons here.
Yep.
Right? And I'm sure you faced some similar when you guys got to Detroit and probably when you went to Cleveland back in the day, too, with the losing. Something that happens here a lot is in the last few years, the losing starts, and it's here we go again. This kind of pervades the locker room. How do you change that mindset of, here we go again? Because you're going to hit adversity at some point.
Well, I've said that a number of times. It's the people that you bring in. So you don't bring people in that has that mindset. Listen, I want men and women that love football, that's highly competitive, that's going to endear themselves to their teammates and coworkers. So if you bring those type of people in, it's hard to get to that here we go again because we have the same vision. We're going in one direction. And we have people in this building that's going in one direction.
Is this a message on work ethic, on grinding, on paying your dues that can be translated to any business, any place?
Well, you would say that we are going to have a grinding mentality as a team. And if you look at that definition, all right, it's friction. And what causes that friction? I'm going to be that friction. The weight room is going to be that friction. Nutrition is going to be that friction. So that's what we're going to be. We're going to have a grinding mentality as we go out there.
Aaron, you talked a lot about with the Broncos. What is your relationship like before today with Darren?
Well, me and Darren didn't know each other until that interview, and then we just kept in touch. And listen, we have a shared vision on how we're going to do things. There's nothing better in the world having ownership, that's committed to winning, and then being able to partner with a GM that has a shared vision that you have. So listen, this is not going to be a situation where we're going to agree on everything. We all know that. But when we go in the room, we're going to hash it out. We're going to come out as one.
Aaron, when you've talked a lot about the turnaround you guys were a part of in Detroit. You kind of started there from square one in terms of needing to acquire talent. When you look at the Jets roster right now, do you believe you're a few steps ahead of where you were even in Detroit because of the players that are already here?
Well, listen, that's hard to say. When you look at Detroit's offensive line, they have one of the better offensive lines in this league. So I don't think it's far off from each other. But to me, it's the point of making sure that we have the right guys on this roster, in this building. And that's where it starts. So we're going to make sure we do that first. We're going to continue to evaluate the roster as we go along. But, man, we want to make sure we surround these players with the right coaches that's going to help them be able to relate to them and be able to teach them. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to right now.
What do you want? What do you want the identity of your offense to be?
What I want the identity of the offense to be. Here's my because I get that in a lot of these press conferences. We're going to be tough, smart. Listen, we're going to be New York Jets. And as you see us play, you'll be able to see the identity at that point. I always say family business stays in the house. So I'm not going to let that out outside this building. Our players are going to know what our identity is going to be, and you're going to find it out by the way we play.